Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry. So, actually, I'll tell you, is anyone pressed for time? Are you all good for time?
Yeah.
You're good?
We have all day.
You're good, yeah? Are you good?
We have
You're
all
okay?
day. Literally
Right.
all day.
Let's go upstairs and we'll go to the original entrance.
Let's go!
Come on, let's go. This is what you call the off-piste tour. Where's, just hold here a second. Lee, we're just going to exit and come back in. We'll be 1 minute. Thank you.
Let's go.
This way, guys.
It also seems a bit too modern to be with no entrance, so I'd also gave it away.
Exit, and we're going to come back in. It'll be a couple of minutes.
Rick was a bit too modern. Which entrance was a bit too modern and it gave it away.
Yes. You're right. Okay, so just come this way, guys. Okay, now I'm going to be open and honest with you. Normally the tours are at 8:45 and 9 o'clock. However, you've been sold tickets for 8:15 and 8:30. Unfortunately, that did not get communicated to moi or my colleague downstairs. That's why we're a bit wrong-footed this morning, all right? So, that's an open, honest answer. They're trialling a new time on a Friday and a Saturday. Normally it's 8:45 and 9, but they've decided to do this trial starting today. Okay.
Oh God, Jack,
All right,
don't tell me.
Anyway, guys, look, so I'm going to start more or less all over again here. So, my name is Kev, and I'm the guide today who's going to take you around this site. Now, as our friend here already has the knowledge about it, this is in fact not the original entrance. This is the modern entrance, and you can see above the door it says Churchill War Rooms. But for the purposes of today, forget that. All right, don't think about Churchill War Rooms. You're going to be going into the Central War Rooms, the Cabinet War Rooms. All right, Churchill War Room is just the modern name they've had, for a few years now. Okay, so this site where we are, we're in Whitehall. See that man there, look, with the briefcase? Did you see him?
Yeah.
All right, let's just wait. Someone else is going to go, and I reckon he's going to go. And he's going to go up those stairs. Look, his head's buried in his phone. Look, there he goes. Look, he's going up. Look, go on. Okay, let's see what he does. So, count it down. 1, 2, 3,
Yeah, it's fine. I can grab it.
right, there's another one now. Watch her going. Count her down. Look, in seconds. 3, 2. She's a bit slow. 1. There you go. Look, she's gone in there. Right, so that's the original entrance. So if you were coming here in 1940 to work, all of you, that's where you would have gone in. So imagine that you are, I don't know, for example, Women's Auxiliary Air Force. Right, you're going to be out of uniform because obviously it's discreet. This was one of the reasons I chose the site, because this building was in fact the Board of Education and the Ministry of Works in 1938. They were looking for a site to place the secret headquarters, and we're going to go into more depth about that, why they eventually chose this, apart from the 2 doors there. This is the Treasury building today. So what you would do is you'll go up the stairs inside, and then you'll go up another set of stairs, then you'll go along a corridor, and you're going to come to a door. That door sadly is not there anymore, and it's called Stairway 15. You would then descend the stairs and you would end up directly beneath this building. All right, and that's why many people thought they were deeper underground than what they actually were. All right, many people even record in their diaries, some guesstimated 50 feet. All right, now you judge for yourself how you feel after a few hours in there. So the people recorded this, and the authorities here actually never dissuaded them that they were not that depth underground, because they wanted you all to feel safe Okay, you were definitely not safe.
My guess was 10 to
100%.
15 meters.
100% you were not safe.
Yeah, my guess is 10 to 15 meters. Around 20 feet. 20 feet.
Okay, it's actually about 10 to 12.
10 to 12. Oh, wait. I would over.
Okay,
10 to
so
12 feet.
guys, this area was extensively bombed during the war, including where you're standing now, and we're going to see that later on. For example, there was a bomb strike just up there on the stairs. There was one just over there where the ice cream van is. So this was an area that wasn't purposely targeted. It was part of Whitehall. Obviously, it's close to Buckingham Palace. It's close to Westminster, and of course, it's very close to Downing Street. The rear entrance is just around the corner there, and the front entrance is just up there on Parliament Street. Also, guys, if you look across the road, you'll see two lampposts. Can you see them?
Yeah.
Yeah, see the shorter one of the two. So keep that in your mind for later on. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go back in again. We're only going to do this once now, right? We're not going to keep doing it.
Yeah,
the
I
whole
know.
time,
I
right?
know.
So we're going to go back in now, and we're going to. This is like. This is the Secrets of the War Room, take 2.
Ah, sorry about that.
It's the same crowd.
I'm glad.
Do you need to do it again, Eric? Are you okay, yeah?
No, we're good.
Okay, guys, head down this way for me. So, come back this way, guys. Here. Just like to return to this area.
Sorry.
Okay, just come all the way back in, guys. That's it, come all the way down. Now we're just going to start here with the tour. Just come all the way in, guys. Come back in here, it's fine. Just to explain to you about what's above your head. This is an original £500 German bomb. Now, this is the type of munitions that starts to drop here in this area from September 1940. All right, 7 September to be exact. And on that day, that starts 57 days of consecutive bombing in this area, and more widely the southeast of England. Now that actually becomes part of a wider 8-month campaign by the German Air Force, the Luftwaffe. So you've got that going on, and that bombing is really focused on infrastructure and civilian conurbation, not directly military targets. All right. Now, in July of that year, 10 July, the Battle of Britain starts. Now that one is focused on attacks against Royal Air Force airfields, and that is to obviously destroy the
Cripple the RAF.
Okay. We can have some interaction, but we can do questions at the end if that's all right. We can tackle each part as we go. So, with the Battle of Britain, the attacks on the airfields are definitely part of a targeted campaign to prevent aircraft taking off, obviously to engage with German bombers. All right. Now, both of these events, so they're running partly in parallel, but both of them are seen, widely seen, as the precursor to the invasion of England. All right, and we're going to get into that more as we head round. So please follow me this way, guys. And just first of all, take a look into this room for me. Come all the way in, guys. Just go right up to the glass if you want. Take a look into the room. And of course, consider that the glass was not here, of course. So you'd be inside this room, and this is the cabinet war room. Now, if you look closely into the room, you'll notice on the outside chairs, these are occupied by senior civil servants and politicians. Now, just while you're looking further into the room, and we get into that in more detail, just to explain how the site came into being. So in 1936, the Air Ministry drew up a report. In the report it said, if during the next European war, significant bombing of European cities is commenced, 200,000 casualties a week, of which 60,000 fatalities, is not an exaggeration. Now, if you actually think those figures are exaggerated, and many did when that report was produced, consider this. By February 1945, you've got the attacks on Dresden in February. These are by the Royal Air Force and the United States Army Air Force. In the space of about 48 hours, 2 waves of attack went in, and the estimates are still argued over today. Anywhere between 20 to 70,000 people killed in 2 days. In April 1945, the US Army Air Force firebombed Tokyo. One night, 100,000 killed. So the figures certainly were very prophetic, shall we say. So once this report is issued, it sends panic through the British government. So this is what they decide to do. They're going to form a committee to look at this issue. Now, what happens when you form a committee?
Panic.
Anyone?
Pretty sure panic and...
Panic, yeah. But anything else once the committee gets going?
And arguments.
Arguments, very good. Basically, nothing happened. All right, and nothing happened for about 2 years. So by 1938, the war clouds are looming ever larger in Europe. So what is decided is, when they re-examine the plans, they realise it's going to take 4 years to build a purpose-built bunker. That is unacceptable. So if you look back into the room, we're going to come to the wooden chair, Mr. Churchill, very soon. But if you just look to the left of the wooden chair at the end, that's occupied by General Hastings Ismay. Now, Ismay, he is Churchill's chief of staff, and he is given the job of going around London to source a location that is suitable to put there the military, the government, all in one location. It's never been done before. So he visits several sites, and then he comes to this site. So he comes down the stairway, we discussed over there, and he enters the site, and he realises immediately it's got some good things going for it. Number one, as we said outside, it's close to Buckingham Palace, the King, it's close to Westminster, it's close to 10 Downing Street, and finally, when this building was finished in 1917, they finished it with a steel frame roof. So obviously then he realised this would help once the bombing inevitably would start. So he makes the recommendation and it's accepted. So in May 1938, into June 1938, they start to retrofit the site. For example, the steel girders above your head, the red girders go in. But it takes them about 14 months to retrofit the site. Then it goes operational 27 August 1939, just 1 week before the outbreak of war. Okay. So, looking back into the room, guys, you can see at the far end the wooden chair. Of course, that's occupied by Winston Churchill now. Immediately, this is my belief at least, I mean, if you came in the door and you'd never heard of Winston Churchill and you'd never heard of the British government, when you walk in that door, wouldn't you think to yourself, that chair's different to the others? Must be someone quite important about him. Well, this was quite purposeful. Churchill wants to dominate every single space that he goes into with his presence, command it with his rhetoric. So this is all part of the Churchill process, as I call it. So there's Churchill, on the outside, senior civil servants, politicians. And if you look at the door, that's the door that Churchill enters in May 1940. He comes through that door the day after he becomes Prime Minister. So that's 11 May 1940. He looks around this room and he says, this is the room which I will direct the war. But then he clears off, because he doesn't really like being down here. He's not claustrophobic, he's not a coward, but Churchill believes his place as leader is on the surface, visible to the people, and not down here, as he would describe it, skulking away. All right. So if you look into the room again, look at the clock on the far side. Move around, guys, and take a look at the clock. It's set at 2 minutes to 5. And the reason for that is because Churchill, as I said, tries to keep away. He's not keen on being down here. But in October 1940, 14 October, Churchill's having dinner just down the road there at number 10 Downing Street, and he hears an air raid siren. He rushes into the kitchen, he says to the cook, Mrs. Landonier, join me immediately with the rest of the family in the basement. I think there's going to be a heavy bombing raid. Well, his instincts are right. A few minutes later, a bomb, such as that one out there, strikes the kitchen and completely destroys it. Half the garden goes with it. So just over a year into the war, Churchill's almost killed. All right. Now, he was no stranger to death or combat, which we're going to go into later. But what happens is the colleagues here, the cabinet colleagues, urge Churchill to take more care and that he should come down here. All right. So that's what he does. So the following day, 15 October 1940, he comes back here, and that's how you see the room laid out today. All right. Now, again, if you look into the room, you'll see the ashtrays there. Now, remember, of course, everyone's smoking at this period. These cigars, cigarettes, pipe tobacco. This room would have been a complete blue fug of smoke. All right. You could cut it with a knife. Also, there's another dynamic in the room which is very important for you guys as you head round today, and that is to consider that Churchill, at this period, after he's appointed Prime Minister, he's quite adamant that there isn't going to be a surrender. All right, there's other colleagues here, there's political opponents that actually believe the better course of action would be to at least have a dialogue with Hitler and perhaps consider a surrender, because many people believe that once these bombing campaign starts, once the invasion takes place, it's going to be too late to actually make any negotiations with Hitler. Now, Churchill's quite adamant against this. He says there won't be any surrender, and so what he does, he wants to make this position clear to anyone in the room that has doubt. So he brings with him that card that's on the table. You can just see it in front of the water glasses, and it says, please understand that there is no depression in this house, and we are not interested in the possibilities of defeat. They do not exist. All right, so they're very Churchillian words, but actually written by Queen Victoria in 1899. But Churchill was a great admirer of Queen Victoria, so he thinks, well, I'll put them there and everybody can understand how I feel about it. Now, you can see where they particularly are, because those three chairs in the centre, obviously a different location, and these are the chiefs of staff. So from right to left, the army, in the centre, you've got the Air Force, and at this far end, you've got the Navy, all right? So Churchill's obviously right opposite them. He's trying to go and dominate this space. He's asking them, he's demanding of them what they're doing to fight back, what ideas have they got. Churchill could be belligerent, could be hard taskmaster, very complex character, kind, generous. He can be a terrible micromanager. He was an inveterate gambler. He gambled on horses, he gambled on cards, he gambled on roulette. He was often broke, he was often wealthy. He was a multi-faceted character. Now also you'll notice that very nice bit of modern kit, the technology, the cable coming down from the ceiling, and it's connected to a small box which is opposite General Hastings Ismay. Now Ismay has to try and keep the chiefs of staff leaping across that table to basically strangle Churchill because they're fed up to the back teeth with him. All right. So Ismay acts as a peace broker between Churchill and the chiefs of staff, and Ismay is trying to think how can he diffuse the tension, the stress in the room, and this is what he comes up with. So he comes up with the idea that he'll press that bottom button and then an orderly will come in. Well, of course, if there's arguments and stress, there'll just be a slight pause, everyone kind of, looks towards the door, and of course, very nicely, as the orderly comes in, he's got drinks, often alcoholic. So, let's do a quick round here, what would you like?
Bourbon and Coke.
Bourbon and Coke.
Dinner time. Champagne. Glass of rosé. Wine.
Water.
Okay, well, that's very good actually. I don't often get an almost full alcohol group. But anyway, I'm going to say nothing about that. So, Churchill's going to take whiskey. This is going to be Johnny Walker Red Label, Johnny Walker Black Label. So having alcohol, coffee or tea, which by the way, Churchill hated coffee, tea, no good. All right. So he would take whiskey, and it wasn't frowned upon to have alcohol at these meetings. All right. And we're going to get more into his alcoholic habits as we head round. All right. So take any photographs you want here, guys, and then we're just going to go through into this space just here. Thank you, guys.
That's good news. Oh, I thought I was your actual entrance. I didn't know glass well.
Yeah, well, it is an actual entrance, yes.
Yeah, I know.
You're right, yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure he said...
Just come round here,
I'm
guys.
pretty sure he said, I will fight them on the beaches, I will fight them on the streets, we will fight them and we will never surrender.
That's right,
I
very good.
leave them, and I'm pretty sure that's all of it. I'm pretty sure it's something else, but I forgot what it was.
Yes.
Was it like, we will fight them on the beaches, we will fight them on the streets, we will fight them and we will never surrender.
Yes.
Is that his entire thing, or what was more?
There was a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, I know, but that's all I remember.
That's good. Just come round this way, guys. Just come in. Does it concern you to stand here on that? No, come here then.
Maybe it does.
Right, turn around that way. Right, now the reason we're doing this is just to explain here something very, very important today. Now, there were at the site many women. The women were the unsung heroes of the site. They were military and they were civilian. All right, so let's just start with the civilian. If you were civilian, you came here for an interview. Almost all of the women that came here had no idea what they were getting into in terms of civilian. Military, yes, but civilian, no. Civilian, 12, 16 hours a day, that's not unusual. Military, even longer. And for example, if you were a Women's Auxiliary Air Force officer, which many of them were, under secret cover, they actually worked for the Government Code and Cipher School. Now, that's not really rolling off the tongue, but what about, try this one. Bletchley Park, anyone? Enigma codes, anyone?
I've heard of the Enigma Code.
Oh, I definitely thought you would have done.
It would be a German, quote-unquote, unbreakable code from, pretty sure, Stephen Hawking, I'm pretty sure? Or was it from an out?
Alan Turing.
Alan Turing, yeah. Alan Turing and a team codebreakers broke the German Enigma Code.
Yes.
It also helps that a pirate from America stole a German U-boat with a bunch of Enigma codes on it, then painting that German U-boat into an American U-boat, I called it the Julius Nemo,
Yes.
and then afterward, I simply put it in a museum
Yes.
for everyone
Okay.
to see.
Well, we'll just continue here for a moment. Now, you're undercover, Government Code and Cipher School. Now, many of the women that worked here couldn't reveal that, but in fact, they learnt their craft here, went to Bletchley Park, and they were under the tutelage of Turing, other senior officers there, and very, very important work. They're trying to crack the German Enigma codes. All right. So imagine the situation at the beginning of the war. There's about 50 people down here, but by the end of the war, there's more than 500 living and working down here in close proximity, day in, day out, day in and day out. So, as a woman, you would descend here, and down here could be part of your workspace, could be part of your accommodation. Now, this area, unlike here, we're only about 10 to 12 feet underground. You've got that slightly deeper space down there. You're below the Thames waterline, so this means that in the summer it's pretty warm, in winter it's cold. You've got all flying insects, mosquitoes, you've got mice, cockroaches, spiders and rats. Remember, of course, everyone's smoking. You know, you've got this nice blue fug of smoke. Now, any due respect to anyone smokers today, or anyone that may, I think there's something happening now. Someone told me the other day, and it's going to come back to me in a moment. Vaping. Ah, yeah, vapes. Anyway, so everyone's vaping today. Anyway, no one vaping then, so there's no sort of strawberry smell. This is like, you know, full-on Capstan, full-strength, Lucky Strike, Marlboro, you know, think of that sort of atmosphere, right? Now, also to finish this wonderful story off, there's body odour here because there's no running water at the site. So hygiene is basic at best. Also, no running water means no flushing toilets. So we have chemical toilets. Okay, so wonderful aromas, stress, anxiety, and certainly not much chocolate. All right, so anyway, are you interested in the job? This is part of the interview process.
So will the beds be downstairs?
Beds do as well down there, yeah. Very narrow, very cramped, only 4 feet, 4.5 feet in height, and it goes all the way that way.
I'll take it.
All right, so
I'll
this
take
way,
it.
guys.
I would probably take it.
Just come in here, guys, for me. Just come all the way down, guys. Right, okay, guys, come into this space. Now, if you look behind you, that's the entrance to the cabinet war room. So that's the room we were looking in a few minutes ago. There'll be a guard outside here, another guard inside. So a highly secure part of the site. Now, if you look down that way, you can see the corridor, which we're going to head down in a few moments. But I'd like to consider this. The site was on the German radar to locate, all right? They never actually did locate the site, but in fact they tasked one of their agents, a guy called, well, his code name was Zigzag, Agent Zigzag, but his real name was Eddie Chapman. And Eddie Chapman is not very German. That's because he was not German, he was a Brit. He was British, spying for the Germans, he parachuted in, he was captured, he was turned, and he actually became a very effective double agent. But when he was captured, he found in his possession tasks. And one of his tasks, apart from sabotage, was to go into Whitehall and locate buildings that could be occupied by government or military. So this facility, or this, not the facility, but actually the buildings were on his agenda, all right? So we're just going to head just down this way, guys. We've just come here to look at this weatherboard we've made. Okay, now if you just come in this way, guys. Just come in this way, guys, and we're just going to take a look here at this weatherboard. Is it all right if we just step back slightly so the other guys can just have a look as well? Thank you. So what we're looking at is a weatherboard. Now, just before we get into that, you're hearing this whistling. Now, this whistling is a very great nod to Churchill, because I mentioned about the complex character he had and idiosyncrasies. One idiosyncrasy was he generally disliked noise. Right? He had an aversion to noise. So he wrote at this period, the only thing that I have in common with Adolf Hitler is our shared hatred of whistling. Right? So we've put it in on a permanent loop. Right? And so back to the weatherboard. Now imagine the situation, you're in the dock. Let's just talk about the women here again for a second. And incidentally, many of the women recorded in their diaries, they were more happier to try and get out of the site when they could go home to spend another night down there. Right? Now, they shouldn't have actually kept diaries because they were signing the Official Secrets Act. But many people did keep diaries here. They recorded their innermost thoughts, their relationships, and that's what compels us to have these rich sources of information. Because obviously, without them, these would be, sterile rooms. In fact. So we're just looking here, as we say, at this weatherboard. And when the bombs are falling, the rooms are shaking, there's dust coming from the ceiling, the lights will flicker, they'll go out. So it's very highly stressed here. So, for example, you would come up here and you'll see here one day and it says windy, all right? But windy doesn't have anything to do with the weather. In British colloquial language of the day, if you said, oh, I saw Kev this morning, he looks a bit windy, he's got the wind up, this means I'm scared. It means that I'm frightened. So what they're doing, they're putting here windy, the bombs are falling, everything's chaotic here, then they'll go around to everyone, keep calm, carry on, it's just a bit windy. Alright, so it's trying to diffuse the tension. Alright, this way guys. Now if you look off to your right, you'll see here, it says Prime Minister above the door, but in fact you would go in there to get an appointment to see Churchill, and if you're successful, you'll turn left, and then you'll enter his bedroom and his study. All right, but we're going to see that from the other side of the site. So please continue down here. Just quickly before we pass this by, what do you think about the size of this cabinet? It's pretty big, isn't it? You think, or not?
Yeah.
Okay. What does this say?
10 Downing Street.
Yes, very good. So when Churchill comes down, you can see at the top here, look, it's all original, 10 Downing Street. When Churchill comes down here, remember he's a little bit of a reluctant visitor. So he says, well, if I'm coming down here, this is coming with me. So in here he keeps some of his favourite items. Any guesses? Whiskey. Thank you. Anyone else?
Cigars?
Cigars, well done. Anyone else? What else does he drink?
Brandy.
Brandy, very good. Brandy, excellent. So this is kind of like a treasure trove, all right? And notice the lock, because they're not for you. Definitely not for you. They're for him. All right. So he keeps them in there under lock and key.
I'm 16, I don't drink.
Okay, very good.
I only drink water.
Okay, guys, just come all the way in here, and we're just looking at this nice image of Mr. Churchill. And what you can see here, guys, that Churchill's got his favourite cigar. This is the Romeo and Juliet, the Cuban cigar. And Churchill smoked around 8 to 10 of these. Well, I used to say per day, but actually it's more accurate to say per 24 hours because he's smoking day and night. So there he is. He's 65 when he takes office in May 1940. But Churchill actually believed by that time in his life he would have in fact been long dead. All right. And the reason for that is because he believed he would have been he would have been buried in some shallow grave on far-flung battlefield somewhere in the British Empire. Because when Churchill's a young man at 21, he goes out to India. He joins his first regiment in the army, a cavalry regiment, and he fights on the northwest frontier. Then after that, he ends up in the Sudan in 1898, and he fights in one of the last great British cavalry charges at the Battle of Omdurman. Less than 2 years later, he's in South Africa. Now, this is a period in his life when he was pretty much often stony broke. So he had a very good aptitude for writing, and he started to write articles for the Morning Post. And then he got a commission to go out to South Africa. He starts to write articles, but he also wants to fight. So he volunteers and is accepted into South African Irregular Horse. All right, so he fights in the Second Boer War. And then finally, 1915 into 16, after the disaster at Gallipoli, Churchill resigns from the government, and he asked to to serve in France. So he actually takes command of the 6th Battalion, the Royal Scots Fusiliers. So he fights in France for around 6 months. So that's really just to illustrate Churchill's views on combat and war. Yes?
I'm pretty sure he commanded in Gallipoli. He would have commanded in the.
He didn't command.
He didn't command, but I'm pretty
sure.
sure.
He was a politician. At that period,
politician in Gallipoli.
Right at the time of Gallipoli, yeah. But he did. That's why he resigned. Yes.
Yeah, he resigned because of Gallipoli.
Yes. Okay, guys. So just follow me down this way, and we're going to see this room from the other side. This is room 65, map room, and we're going to visit the room and see what's going on in there from the other side when we head round the site. But to have access into this room, only 42 people have it. There's a guard outside, there'll be a guard on the other side, and it's a highly, highly secure. So it's another secret within the secret site, okay? So just follow me here, guys. And we're just going to look down here. Just come all the way down here, guys. Just come all the way in and look back at this door for me, door 63. Just look at this door here, door 63. And there's a few things we're going to talk about now. Number one, sorry to possibly lower the tone of the tour, but remember, there isn't any running water at the site. So what options do you have to go to the toilet? You've got your chemical toilet, the Elsan chemical toilet. Now, can anyone really believe that that's suitable for Mr. Churchill? Anyone? Because Churchill's the second son from an aristocratic family. Churchill wrote at this period and said, I know there's a war on. I understand that. But please continue to offer me the simple pleasures in life. But just ensure they remain the best. All right? So, in 1943, this would have been the place you came to get a cleaning mop, or it's like a janitor's cupboard, effectively. But later that year, building work starts, and then after a few weeks, this door appears, 63 feet long, keeping duty officer, Matt Proof. And what does that say there? It says, what does it say? It says engaged. All right, then the standing order goes out. If you're approaching from that direction or that direction, eyes front, no eyes left, no eyes right, don't look down at that door. Why do you think that is? What's behind the door? What is in there? Who's in there?
Churchill's toilet.
Who said it?
I did.
Churchill's toilet. There we are. Churchill's toilet. Okay. Now, this is, I think, in my opinion anyway at least, this is a real highlight of the tour. Because we are now going to, if you're willing, I mean, if you feel it's something you don't want to do, you can just tell me now. If you're not, we're going to go and see Mr. Churchill's toilet.
I want to do it.
Are you?
In a sec.
And
Hold on.
has anyone got any aversion to that? Are you all ready for this? Now, it could be in there. Okay, let's go. You make your rulings. You make your rulings. So there, go in there, guys. Take a look. There he is. Don't be afraid. Be very afraid. Just go in, take a look, and you'll see him there. That's it? Are you looking in? No toilet whatsoever. No toilet. No toilet. No. What it is, okay, so this is what happened, right? So we got you to spread the rumour around the site that this was Mr. Churchill's toilet. So your first thing is you went to her, because you know that she knows what, she knows, exactly, all the women, and then after a few weeks, he comes to you, and he says to you, have you heard about, this? And you say, oh, right, no, I didn't know about it. No, didn't know anything about it. But you know your plans worked, and you also know that he gossips a lot.
Yeah.
right? So now he's got information, so he's talking to the wrong people, right? So, in fact, what this is the world's first encrypted, scrambled, transatlantic telephone line. This is the hotline. And Churchill is now talking to a guy there who lives in a big house, and he lives in Washington DC. I can't think what his name is. Could be Roosevelt. Anyway,
It's FDR.
it is President Roosevelt.
It's FDR.
FDR, yeah. So now
Theodore Roosevelt.
Churchill is talking to FDR, and they have their first conversation in April 1944. Right? Now, this secret is another secret within the secret site. This is an ultra secret, because the Americans rightly are concerned about security. So what they do is they decide to send over a delegation. They come here and they sit down, they want to thrash out with the Brits, what are you going to do to preserve the security of this line? Alright, so they start off. Now keep in mind that the equipment to power it is about 55 tonnes in weight, so it would occupy all this space. And also keep in mind the value. Now this had 19 relays to operate it. Every relay in 1944 was $1 million US. So today that's around 20 million. Alright, so times 19 with the rest of the equipment, this is a huge, huge investment. Now the Americans, again, rightly concerned about security. They're obviously concerned about the financial side, but also their main concern is this should not fall into the hands of the Soviets, because already at this time everyone can realise the landscape of Europe after the war is not going to be the same anymore. Okay, so that sets the scene. So they come here, very serious men, very serious subject. They sit down with the Brits and say, right, okay, what are you going to do with this equipment then? Are you, for example, going to put it in a secure military base guarded by your finest men day and night? Like we've got Fort Bragg. What have you got? The Brits say no. Okay. Perhaps then you're going to take all the equipment and you're going to put it in one of your fancy castles, because we've been around a bit and we've seen you've got all these castles and most of them are in ruins, so you can shove it in there and no one will know it's there. And you can guard it day and night. Are you going to do that? No. Okay, so by now the Americans get a bit fed up and they're pressing the Brits, and the Brits say, okay, enough. Come on, enough. We know what we're doing. This is what we're going to do. We're going to wait until the dead of night. We are then going to get some removal lorries, and we're going to load all the equipment up into the removal lorries. They'll keep all their livery on the side, so no one will know what's in there. And then we're going to drive to Oxford Street, because Oxford Street is our very best shopping area in London. And then when we get there, we're going to enter that building over there. And that building is Selfridges, and that's our favourite London department store. And when we go in that building, we're going to take all the equipment down into the basement. And you are going to send your finest. And you, Mr. US Army, you're going to guard it. And that's what they did. All right, so it remained a secret well after the war. Actually, it wasn't until the 1970s it was revealed what this was and where the equipment was. All right, so it remained secret for more than 30 years. Okay. Okay, follow me this way, guys. Now, just to tell you, a reminder, at the end of our time together, if you want to come back to this space, you can spend as much time as you want down here. You can also go into the museum, which is just behind us there. But before we do that, I just want to also continue our toilet theme and show you this. And this is the Elsan chemical toilet. So you can see why people were not that keen to use it. Alright? Okay, guys, now just over here, and this is very good for your memory. Right, just over here, guys. Have a look at this image down here at the bottom.
I remember.
Anyone know where this image is?
Yeah, like posted there, which would have. Sorry.
This is right outside where we met. Remember I said about the bombing? Come in.
Yeah, there's supposed to be two light poles there.
Yeah. If you could just head back slightly so the other guys can see photograph. This is St James's Park opposite. This is outside where we met. Remember I said right at the beginning, Churchill wants to be visible to the people. Look, these are all people, general public. That building's still up there today. That's the Institute of Engineers. And in fact, what Churchill's looking at is a bomb crater. Now this bomb, almost outside, this one did not explode. Right, so remember that, it did not explode. Okay? And that, as our friend pointed out there, that's the small lamppost across the road. That's the original one, right across the road. Okay? Guys, so we're going to continue this way. Just follow me down here.
Continuing with toilet theme, that reminds me of...
If you just go into this space for me. Thank you, guys. Just come all the way down here, guys.
Alright, doing okay.
Just come down this way, guys. That's it. That's it. Now we're going to head a little bit deeper into the site now. Just come all the way down. Just come here, sir. Just come all the way. Just stand there as far as that. We're going to head a little bit deeper into the site now. We're going to see some rooms that were occupied by some people that were pretty close to Churchill, and they're people I like to call his cronies. Now we've got American here today, we've got Australian, but let's just try and figure out the people we're talking about. So cronies, bounders. Anyone heard of that one? Bounder? Very popular in the British 1930, call someone a bounder. It means a cad. What about a cad? Anyone heard of that?
I'm pretty sure like it's secret police.
No, a cad would be someone like, let's try another one. Sketchy? Getting the right idea now? Dodgy?
Yeah.
Dodgy? Right, so these often were people that Churchill gravitated towards. They're on the fringes of establishment. But one trait they did share was an unswerving loyalty to Winston Churchill, and that was not limited to financially bailing him out. Remember I said at the beginning he was an inveterate gambler? They often paid his gambling debts. They would gather money, they'd go around to his friends and people and say, come on, pay up, he's in trouble again. And they would get very, very top secret to keep it out of the press, to keep it, under coke. Imagine today how it would be all over social media in about 20 minutes. The whole world would know what you're doing.
Next one, watch off.
So, guys, so what we're going to do, we're just going to head through now, but look to your left, and you'll see there a room, Prime Minister's detectives. This room principally was occupied by a guy called Walter Thompson, and he was Churchill's primary bodyguard. He's with Churchill for 18 years, and he saves Churchill from 13 assassination attempts during his lifetime. All right? So just take a look into the room there, guys. Take any photographs you want. That's it, guys. Just come down here when you're ready. Okay, guys. Just stand onto the wall there for me, guys, and just come down here. That's it. Just on this wall here. What we're going to do in a moment, you're just going to get, obviously time to look in the rooms. But I just want to give you a sort of thumbnail sketch of a couple of the people here, or a few of the people here. So this guy here, this is Mr. Bracken. This is Brendan Bracken. Okay, now he's the Minister for Information, 1941 to 1945. So remember that word, information, because his significant character flaw was he was a compulsive liar. And he's Minister of Information. Well, you can take out of that what you want. Yeah, exactly. Now, Bracken also would tell people after a few whiskies that he was in fact Churchill's illegitimate son. Right? Okay, this guy here, Major Morton, this is Desmond Morton. Okay, now think of 007, think of Chief. This is Churchill's link with the Secret Intelligence Service, MI6.
MI5.
In this case, it was MI6.
MI6.
Yeah, Secret Intelligence
Oh,
Service.
SO
Military Intelligence
Oh, lovely
6.
SOE.
The SOE, Special Operations Executive, no, there was someone different for that.
Okay.
But they're also down here. You'll also notice, guys, in the room, the carpet. Now, remember, as you pass through the rooms, the more carpet you have, the more important they thought you were. All right? So just head down this way, guys. And you're just seeing there, also on the right here, Churchill's, or PM's dining room.
It looks much cabin in here.
And that's Commander Thompson, Churchill's naval aide-de-camp. And you'll see here on the right, this is Churchill's bedroom, which you can just go and look at. Okay,
Oh,
now,
great.
so guys, you'll notice as you head down here, you'll start to hear these sirens, because at the very far end, that is in fact the chief of staff. And they're going to start fighting we don't actually stay in that space because it takes about 10 to listen to it. It's got everybody's ideas. Later, you're welcome to do so. So 5 minutes here, this is where you guys towards so she has that is her own bedroom. Each got their own bedroom. 100 small Germans. Actually, she didn't occupy that much. Mostly, this room was occupied by one of Churchill's parents. The reason was because Mary was actually military, and she was part of the anti-aircraft gun placement, which was just down there on the Charles Street. So she often used to come sleep here at night if she was on duty. It's her friends and
Every bed has got one under.
Not every bed.
Oh, no, I have.
Oh, okay.
But that's not
I like the voices, alright? Come on.
Yes, indeed. So guys, we'll just get into that question in a moment. It's fine. But when you look there, just join me down here. And if I'm going to ask you to go right on the back through for me, that's it. Just looking back here, that's it, guys. Just go there. If you just go there as well, that's fine. That's fine. And you guys, if you could just go over here, you can come here with me. Stand here, right? You come in there. You come in there. You go around there. That's it. That's it. All the way to the end. That's it. You're there, and you're there. You're talking. So you look back. So it's a bit of a. Right, okay guys, so what we're doing, we're looking at this image. I'll get out of the way in a second for you to have a good look. And the question was just here about the kitchen. Now, of course, that kitchen doesn't serve the whole site. Primarily, that was going to be for use in Churchill's dining room that you just saw there. There were many other cooking areas in the site because remember, just to give you your geography, if you go into the museum, remember all of those were rooms as well. And if, when you leave the site, or conversely you are in the museum, if you go right to the back of the museum, it actually continued underground all the way down to Parliament Street. So that was huge, great site. So if you want to do it, if you leave today, go up the stairs here, Clive Steps, and walk along, look to your right, there's an iron gate, and if you look inside, don't look too long because they'll probably come out and arrest you. But if you look a little bit inside, you'll see the rotunda. So these rooms went all the way underneath. So it's a huge site. What you're seeing today is only like a microcosm really of it. Okay. So can anyone remember? You know when you go in the stairs up the street, you went in the wooden doors, you went up and up and up. Do you remember? So this is where you got to. Then you went across there and you descended that staircase 15. You went all the way down. and that's where you came in and out. Now, we also talked about Churchill's idiosyncrasies. Does Churchill generally like noise?
No.
Correct. So later on he gets the guards to stand on coconut mats, because he doesn't like it when they change the guard. Now, you were talking about the kitchen. Look at these rooms upstairs. This is right above you. I'll get out the way so you can, that's it, go and take a look there. Look at those rooms there. All right, these are above you. These were built for Churchill and his family, right above us, and that is more reflective of Churchill's lifestyle. He's got his bedrooms, kitchen, bathroom. He's got running water upstairs. Churchill liked taking baths. He took at least 2 per day. And another interesting thing for all of you American guys here today, and this was particularly before Pearl Harbor, right? So there were many Americans visiting the site, and obviously Churchill wanted to impress upon them the urgency to get Roosevelt to enter into the war fully. So Churchill and his armoury of charm and witticisms and rhetoric. He's also got another good weapon. He's got alcohol and he's got good food. All right. So what he does, he arranges that through the government expenditure, if he's got important Americans coming over, Churchill got an extra allowance for alcohol, and he got an extra allowance for food. So he would entertain them upstairs very royally. For example, we're going to talk just briefly about one of the guys as we head further round. So just join me when you're ready, guys. We're turning left here. We're just going left down here.
In here. Ooh, holy. Way up, fast stay. Cafe down.
But in December 1942, this room, along with 7 other rooms going in that direction, were given a new designation. And the new designation was bracket, special, closed bracket, accommodation. Now, anyone that was in the know realised that, of course, special was a euphemism for secret. So these were secret rooms already in a secret site. These rooms were occupied and given over to the SIS. Remember we talked about them, the MI6, the Secret Services. And also when there's one particular American I just want to touch on now, that I talked about before. He comes over here and he's got the wonderful name, Wild Bill Donovan. All right. Now, Wild Bill Donovan was the head of the OSS, the Office of Strategic Services. Now, you know, again, it doesn't sound very much, but in fact, that was the forerunner of the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA. So when he comes over here, Churchill and Donovan get on really well, helped, of course, by their mutual love of whiskey. And they spend many nights, hours debating, talking about this, that, and the other. And of course, Churchill wanted Donovan to go back, which he did, and then Donovan was instrumental in setting up, let me just get this correct, 36th floor Rockefeller Center, New York. They set up a secret FBI, OSS, MI6 coalition before America entered the war in December 1941. If that had got out to Congress, there would have been probably all hell to pay. So anyway, so this diorama, this is just giving you just an outline of the bombing. There was bombing in all these other areas, but particularly here, look, this is what we talked about right outside where we are. You can see there were many near hits. Buckingham Palace down here, this is hit 9 times during the war. Most infamously on the 15th of September 1940, a German bomber comes low down the Mall and drops 6 bombs on the palace. The King and Queen were in residence at the time. Churchill was down here, he got to know about it very quickly, and he calls through to the palace, he speaks to the King and says, "Sir, are you all right? Is the family okay?" And the King replies, "We're absolutely fine, Winston, don't concern yourself about us. It was probably just one of my distant cousins." Right? So Churchill is concerned genuinely about the site in terms of the bombing, so he orders that to be built, which is put over the whole site. So you've got the wooden beams, you've got the steel girders, and you've got concrete to try and prevent these bombs from affecting the site. And we're going to talk more about that in a few minutes. So let's head through when you're ready, guys. You can see here the BBC broadcasting room. And the broadcasting room allowed Churchill to give 4 of his famous wartime speeches on this site. Right? And we'll see more about that later. Next door we've got the switchboard room. The switchboards, you've got 18 lines in and out. You've got a bed there at the back, a steel helmet. She's got on the desk specially adapted gas mask. So if there's a gas attack, you know, she put this specially adapted mask on. That was the theory anyway, to still do her job. Churchill's aversion to noise knows no bounds, and he orders from one of his wealthy American friends typewriters to be sent over. But they're not any old typewriters, they're Remington noiseless typewriters. Alright, so they start to write here as well. Okay, here we've got the typist room. Originally there'd be 6 ladies in here. Remember, they're working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'd have mattresses on the outside, 6 mattresses, so they'd just throw the mattress down to get a few hours sleep here or there. So very, very tough conditions, very tough indeed. Right, are you ready, guys? Just heading next door. You can see what these are: emergency sleeping quarters, general inmate room. They're all pretty basic.
Churchill Chief of Staff.
These guys just come forward, guys.
Private Secretary.
These guys in here, they're starting to
Secretary to War
prepare
Government.
plans. As it come forward, all the way, so you get a good look. These officers in here, they're starting to prepare plans to repel the invasion of England that's expected. But for you guys, just for the moment here, when you look at the lighting in the room, this is pretty illustrative of what the lighting at the whole site was like in the 1940s. Quite low, quite difficult conditions. And we already talked about many of the women here. Now, in the summer of 1940, it was a glorious summer. Now, some of the women here were, you know, underground here for quite some time, and there was a definite cases of vitamin D deficiency. So what they did, they issued to the women sun lamps. All right. Now, of course, you're thinking, what a wonderful employer I've got. They've given me this sun lamp, isn't it great? But it wasn't just for that reason. The other reason was for security, because many of the women, after several days or weeks down here, they get up to the surface, they're haggard, they're tired, they're gaunt, they're very pale. So someone would say, where have you been? Look at her colour's really good. So of course they're doing it also because they want them to get some glow, so people don't ask them too many questions where they've been and what they're doing. So it wasn't just them being kind. Right? This room in here.
Thank you for your service, have some cancer.
Okay, right. This room here is also another room. This is another room from which they're starting to prepare plans. You know, they're studying the map there. They're looking at where they think this German invasion is going to come in. Now, Churchill at this period has made his position even clearer. There isn't going to be a surrender. And Churchill now considers what's coming next is going to be actually a war for national survival. And the reason for that is because they had received intelligence here about the activities of the German army and the SS in Poland. So when the Germans invaded Poland the previous year in September, they took with them a list, 61,000 names on that list. Within less than 2 months, Poland as a country ceased to exist. It just became part of the general, they called it just general government. So it was just part of the Third Reich. Now, Churchill was convinced that that's going to happen here. You know, Britain as a nation will be gone, and it will just be given a designation in the Third Reich, because those 61,000 names on the list, in just 4 weeks, the Germans executed all of them in Poland. They were the intelligentsia, lawyers, doctors, teachers, homosexuals, Jehovah's Witnesses. The list was endless. Anyone that was against the Nazi ideology is rounded up and is going to be killed. All right. Now, the intelligence also suggests here that when the Germans come ashore, once they start the invasion, directly behind them is going to be the Einsatzgruppen Commando. This is the SS death squads. All right. So Church was convinced this is going to happen here, and he now says it's a war for national survival. So Churchill, under his order only, he gets Royal Air Force aircraft retrofitted to carry poison gas, mustard gas, phosgene gas, and his plan is he'll drop it on the Germans if they get onto those beaches. All right, so this was an extremely perilous moment in history. Okay, guys, just follow me through here. This room is the map room, and in today's language we would refer to this room as the CNC, the Command and Control Centre. We've got here the military, we've got the Royal Air Force, we've got the Army, we've got the Navy. You'd have someone from the government in here, so there'd be civilian oversight. You'd have 2 clerks, 9 plotters, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All right, so what they're doing in here, every morning, 0800, they prepare a bullet point report on the condition of the war globally. 1 copy to Churchill, 1 copy to the King, interestingly, and 1 copy to each Chief of Staff. That's it, right? Then they disseminate, cascade down effect, who gets the information. Now these guys are, considered to be, they get a reputation for sort of men of mystery, if you want to call them that, because they come through that door, only 42 people come in, you remember, in and out throughout the war. Day and night, there's Team A, Team B, and they get to be known as the Glamour Boys, right? If you look at the telephones, the green is military intelligence, ivory is Home Office, Foreign Office, other government departments. The black is internal in the site, and the red one is a direct line with Churchill. Okay, now can you see what's on the desk down there? There, on that desk, look. Yeah, look, there, what are those? Sugar cubes, exactly, they're sugar cubes. Now you might think, so what? Well, the so what, everything down here is about the provenance. This is the most preserved room in the site, because those sugar cubes are original, they're over 80 years old, and they belong to him. It's his 1 week ration, and the reason is this. Hegarty, that's Wing Commander John Hegarty. He comes to this room 27 August 1939. He's the first man to enter this room. Okay? Then, he switches that lamp on. He switches these other lights on, and these remain on for the duration of the war, right, for over 6 years. Now here, up here, just you can see on this post, just where I'm pointing here, you have to come round to see it, 16 August, you see it there? Okay, but that's now 1945, so Thursday, 16 August, he comes in the room and he makes an announcement. He says, yesterday, the Japanese surrendered to the Allies. The war is over. Right, we're going home. So everyone is jubilant. Papers are thrown in the air. And typical military fashion, they get up and they leave. This room is then left like a time capsule, in essence untouched for about 35 years. Then the 1970s, Imperial War Museum get involved. They start to preserve, conserve, and eventually 1984, the site opens to the public. You'll see at the far end, you'll see the pipes. These are not voice pipes, they're pneumatic air pipes to send messages around the site. You see the large scope, the mats at the far end, the map behind me. Not so much this one certainly. You can see the colour, this sort of sepia brown. But remember, these maps originally were white. This is the nicotine. This is the smoke. All right, everyone's smoking in here. Remember as well. Also remember, guys, that this is not just the function of the map room. If you look behind, just down there, where you guys are standing, the weapons. If the Germans had got into the site, this would have been like holy grail. This is what they want to get to. We've got top secret information, code books, operations running live. So this was designated also as the last redoubt, citadel. All right, so they would fight over, particularly over this room, to the last. Okay, guys. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go next door. That's our last stop together, and it's going to be Churchill's bedroom and study. So just go through this way, guys, and just sorry, excuse me, sorry. Just come back this way, guys. We're just stopping here to look into the bedroom. That's it. Just come all the way down here, guys. That's it. Okay, that's it. Come all the way in. There's plenty of space here. This is Mr. Churchill's bedroom and study. Now, just to consider the bed first of all. The glass wasn't here. The bed would have been over here, and Churchill was 5'6". But by this time in his life, he'd become a little bit rotund. So what they decide, they are concerned that he may collapse in the bed. So what they do is they fit it with metal plates to strengthen it, but they don't tell him, of course. The carpet. This is the only room in the site which is fully carpeted. All right, remember, the more carpet you had, the more important they thought you were. Also, guys, now for you right down the end there, okay, you, no, it's you, yes, you, Right, what's under the bed there? Can you see it? Who said that? A bedpan, yes, thank you very much. Now, it's a bedpan. Now, when Churchill comes to the room, he enters, he looks down there and he sees the bedpan, he's aghast. Because remember, he's the second son from an aristocratic family. This is not really, as we Brits would say, Churchill's lifestyle. It's not his cup of tea. So he says now, you no longer call this a bedpan in my presence. Now, another idiosyncrasy. Churchill had a habit of naming objects randomly with words that he made up. Okay, so he comes here and he starts to call this now, you now call this the Gazunda. Gazunda's bed. Right? So this becomes now the Gazunda's bed. Right? Now if you look on the far side of the desk, you've got the microphones and you've got the chair, and you can see from that position, that's where Churchill gives 4 of his famous wartime speeches, including the one he gives the day after Pearl Harbor. So he's down here and he says, tonight I will sleep contented. Now, if you also look on the desk, you'll see, can everybody see the black telephone right in front? And if you just go to the left, you can see the small box. Can you see with the buttons on? That's the same as what was in the cabinet ballroom. Remember pressing the button for the alcohol, the drinks coming in? So, for example, Churchill could call for one of those whiskies. He could call for the glass of brandy. He could call for the gin cocktail. In fact, it's easier if I say the drinks he's not going to call for. All right. Just a brief snapshot. So at 8 o'clock in the morning, Churchill will get up. He'll have a whiskey and then a cigar to get started. 9 o'clock, he's going to have breakfast, large Edwardian breakfast, scrambled eggs. He's going to have fish. He's going to have game meat, could be pheasant, rabbit. He's going to wash all of that down with good French chilled white wine. Okay, no tea, no coffee. And then he'll get dressed. He'll have upstairs. He'll have a bath. He'll come back down here. And then at 1:30 it's a working lunch, another big affair. And I'm trying to remember who it was. So who wanted champagne? Was it you, wasn't it? Was you? Yeah. So you. Okay. So Churchill's now going to have champagne with lunch. This is going to be Pol Roger. This is his favourite. Now, every year on the anniversary of Churchill's birthday, Odette Pol Roger would send Churchill a case of the 1928 vintage. That was his favourite. Unfortunately, it didn't last very long because he drank all of it. Okay? So he'll often take a whole bottle of that champagne, and then later in the afternoon, after lunch, he's going to have a power nap. And he'll have 1 or 2 hours in that bed, and then he'll get up, he'll work again. In the evening, dinner's at 8. That goes on till about 10, 11. Then they might do a film. So he liked Lady Hamilton. That was one of his favourite films. And this will go on to about 1 o'clock in the morning. And he might get 4, maybe 5 hours sleep a night because he's working the rest of it. So enormous constitution. Now, with the champagne, we're just going to end with this little quiz here, guys. We'll just take 3 answers if you don't mind. There's been an estimate made, actually, of how many bottles of champagne that Churchill consumed in his lifetime. So, anyone like to take a guess? How many bottles? Okay, we'll take 3 guesses. Shout out when you're ready.
10.
10, thank you.
300.
300. So we've got one more.
3,000.
Okay, 3,000. Now, if you took all of those, you will not even be anywhere close. It is estimated that during Churchill's lifetime he consumed an estimated 42,000 bottles of champagne.
Oh, I thought you meant per day.
40, yes, correct. Now remember that excludes the whiskey, the brandy, the claret, the chilled French white wine, the gin cocktails, etc., etc., etc. He was born, obviously during the 19th century. He was actually born in 1874. When he died, he was 90. So He had a pretty good constitution, I would say.
Champagne.
So guys, that's the end of our time together. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Sorry for the false start this morning. Okay, thank you very much. Now we're going to head this way. If you just follow me down here. And this, none of you will be surprised, is the shop. All right. Okay guys, so we're now entering into the shop. Okay guys, just to enter into the shop, just give you a final reminder here guys. If you, obviously you can spend as much time in here as you want, of course, in the shop. You can also go exit the shop and then you'll be back where we started, so you can get those audio guides, you can go back to the museum, you can take your time, you can get a drink, because in fact when you do the full circle around, you'll come back into this space. I think that's about it. So thank you very much guys for joining today, and good travel, safe trips back, and that's it. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. Right, I'm going to head this way, but I said take your time and do whatever you want. Okay? Thank you very much.
You go for a glass of champagne.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you. Much appreciated. Thank you guys. See you later. See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
No problem.
No. The freedom of BTV is found in items round real freedom which fills in which we shall never surrender. I'm good. Yeah, next.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not gonna